One day, you will hold someone's hand for the last time. You will watch the sun set and not know it was the last you'd see. Death does not knock. It arrives like dusk, quiet and certain, turning everything familiar into something sacred. We fear it. We avoid it. We whisper its name as if saying it too loudly will make it real. But what if death is not the end? What if it is the mirror that shows us what it means to truly live? Every sunrise carries the promise of life, and every sunset whispers its quiet truth, that everything beautiful must one day fade. We live between those two lights, between beginnings and endings, learning to love while knowing that nothing lasts forever. The fear of death is not really fear of dying. It is fear of losing what we love. But perhaps the meaning of death is not loss, but transformation. A reminder that nothing truly disappears. It only changes form. A child once found a flower that had wilted overnight. They ran to the old gardener and asked, "Why do flowers die so soon?" The gardener smiled, brushing soil from his hands. "Because they teach us to notice them while they are here," he said. "If they bloomed forever, we would forget to look." The child stood quietly, holding the fallen petal. The sun touched its edge, and for a moment it glowed like gold. In that small shimmer, the child understood something words could never explain, that beauty lives in the presence of its ending. Life is like that garden. Everything blooms, fades, and returns to the earth. Death is not a thief. It is the hand that completes the circle. First, death gives life its meaning. If we never died, life would blur into an endless day, and we would forget how bright a single sunrise can be. Every heartbeat, every breath, every laugh matters because it will never happen in the same way again. It is because life ends that it becomes sacred. The awareness of death is what makes us pay attention to being alive. Second, death teaches impermanence. Nothing we hold stays the same. People leave, seasons change, even the stars fade. Impermanence is not cruelty, it is truth. Death reminds us that change is the nature of everything, and that clinging to permanence only deepens pain. To love life is to accept its fragility. Third, death invites us to love more deeply. When we remember that time is limited, we stop taking people for granted. We listen longer, hold tighter, and speak kinder. Every goodbye becomes softer because we realize it could be the last. Awareness of death makes love more urgent and more real. Fourth, death reveals connection. The body ends, but the warmth remains. In laughter remembered, in stories retold, in the way someone still sets the table for two. We are threads in a vast fabric, woven together across time. When someone we love dies, their story continues in ours. Death shows us that we were never separate. Fifth, death teaches humility. Every grave is equal beneath the sky. Death levels us, not to diminish, but to remind us that we were always the same, human. Power, youth, fame, all return to dust. But in that humility lies freedom. When we stop pretending we can control everything, we begin to live with grace. To bow before death is to finally understand life. Sixth, death asks us to trust the mystery. We do not know what comes after, and perhaps we never will. But mystery does not mean emptiness. It means wonder. Just as the seed disappears before becoming a tree, maybe death is the window through which life changes shape. Not an ending, but a transformation beyond our understanding. Seventh, death reminds us to live fully now. Each day is a small lifetime, each breath a beginning and an ending. We cannot add more years, but we can add more presence to the years we have. When you realize everything ends, You stop waiting to begin. To live fully is to die a little each day, to let each moment pass and still love it enough to begin again. Eighth, death teaches continuity. We often think death ends the story, but perhaps it continues in a language we can no longer hear. Just as rain returns to the sea, every soul returns to the source of all things. Nothing is truly gone. It only changes the way it shines. The river of life never stops flowing. It only shifts its form. So what is the meaning of death? It is not the shadow of life, but its silent companion. It walks beside us from our first breath, reminding us that every step matters. Death teaches us to cherish what we have, to forgive faster, to love deeper, to waste less time pretending we have forever. It asks us not to run from the dark, but to see that the dark holds the stars. Look at the night sky. Every light you see is the echo of something that has already died. And yet, it still shines. Perhaps that is what we become too when we go, light in someone else's sky. The meaning of death is not loss. It is love continued through memory, presence continued through those we have touched. Somewhere, a star collapses and becomes light. Somewhere, a heart stops and becomes memory. Nothing truly ends. It only changes how it shines. When we make peace with death, the world softens. The light feels warmer. The air feels alive. Because we finally understand. We were never meant to stay forever, only to love deeply while we are here. As Rumi wrote, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form." What does death mean to you? How has it changed the way you live? Share your reflections in the comments. And if this message touched your heart, subscribe to The Meaning for more timeless reflections on life, love, and the beauty of existence.